Hello, good morning and welcome to the channel. We're just going to have a channel update and go over a couple of things. Quick one about this one.
A different concept when a minority wants something, but it actually does affect the majority.
So what he's getting wrong here is the minority is J.K. Rowling and her extremist lesbians. So that's the major flaw he's getting with his argument. And for some reason or another he finds it. This is what is it? It's easy to bash the transgender minority. It's easier for him to do that. He might have, I don't know if he's got a girlfriend. I know his wife dumped him. Not surprisingly. But he's probably got a woman, so it could be a woman's. A lot of times these men are not really controlled by their own thoughts, they're controlled by a woman. So that could be happening with this guy. I don't know.
It's a totally different concept when a minority wants something, but it actually does affect the majority. So, in cases like that, do you know what we've got to do? We've said, look, we've had a wee look there, but we can't help you on none.
So he's got a massive misunderstanding of the Supreme Court ruling, the Gender Recognition Act and the Equality Act. He hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. He shouldn't really be talking about this. This would be like me doing a video on Worcester plumbing boilers. You know, I can bleed it and that's about it. That'd be like me that would be a good analogy. I would do a video on Worcester boilers for 20 minutes. You know, it's not appropriate. You don't know what you're talking about, Craig. You're talking complete crap. You haven't analysed the situation. You haven't done any critical analysis. You've just put this video out because it's easy. You're actually a bully, is what you are.
Persecuted at all. You're in the minority for anything. You need rights. Okay, let's go down that road. What rights do you want? What rights do the trans people want? Because I'm fed up asking. I must have asked 10 times a day for the last week on Twitter when I've seen somebody talking about trans rights. So, well, what is it you need?
Right, so yeah, this is probably part of the reason why I'm doing these videos is I tried talking to him about it and he didn't want to talk about it. In fact, he blocked me. Or I suspect he blocked me. He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want... So, what reach do you need? I mean, well, that's a very good point. I mean, what is this all about? So, what's happened is transgender women and transgender men have been told that they can change their gender if they get a diagnosis of... This is to simplify things. Gender dysphoria. They can change their gender. So that sex. They can change their sex. I'm not going to go into the biological realities of this. You can change your sex legally. Yeah, you can tell me you can't change your sex biologically. Fine, yeah. But in this country, in the UK, you can change your sex from male to female or female to male. And that has been since 2004. And now the Supreme Court ruling has been hijacked by you numpties. People like Craig. Because J.K. Rowling pumped £70,000 into the extremist, lesbian, gender-critical feminist, angry women. So they're a minority in their own right. Most women aren't like that. The majority of women are not like that. So we're talking about British values, fairness and acceptance. So we are being told, well, transgender women and transgender males have got caught up in this because really they weren't bothered about transgender males, but they've got caught up in this. So this, what they're being told is, so the toilets, the bathrooms and the toilets are the fighting ground. So we're being told by numpties like Craig that we can't use. So he wants Paris Green in a male prison. Paris Green's got a vagina. She's got breasts. He wants her in a male prison. Right? So he also wants people like myself in the male bathroom. It's just not going to work. It's not practical. He wants Victoria McLoud in the male toilet. Does he really want that? Has he really thought about this? So she's going to go in there with her makeup and her hair and everything into the male bathroom. It's not going to be appropriate, is it? Equally, it's not going to be appropriate for a man with a beard called Jake to go in to the female bathroom.
What rights is it you need? We need rights to survive. kind of got that. And it's just nonsense. But that's because we, for probably a generation now, have built a society where, we must pander to the minority, regardless of the consequences. But what I'm glad to report is, I have seen a switch away from that recently.
Well, you haven't, because you've got the same problem that the transgender activists have, is that they're in their own very narrow, small, little pool. So you're in your very narrow, small Rangers pool, Rangers supporters pool. So you have seen it, but you're only seeing it in your own tiny, and you've proved it. You don't want to speak to me about it. You've proved that. So you're in a tiny little pool of Rangers supporters. So that's how you're basing. This is all nonsense anyway. This is video 18 minutes 54 is nonsense, complete nonsense. But we'll go on to just point out another fact that he got wrong by a country mile, and then we'll look at some others.
No better, because at the end of the day, you're a judge. Oh no, you're a doctor now. Share, that would be great. If you've not already done so, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell for the channel. However, what I always say, the most important thing of all, unless you're a crackpot who should know better, because at the end of the day...
That's you, Craig. You're a crackpot that should know better.
You're a judge. Oh no, you're a doctor now.
Right, that's complete ignorance. Dr. Victoria McLoud, as far as I can see, she became a doctor in the 1990s. I need to confirm this. Hang on, we'll have a look. Right, so that's 1993. So,
who demands rights that some people have already got, because we keep going on about trans rights are human rights.
See, he doesn't really know. I mean, I don't even know what he's talking about, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. So we're talking, what are we talking about? We're talking about discrimination. So like, I'm sitting here going about toilets, but so in my life, how does it affect me? Well, it doesn't, right? Well, maybe it does. I mean, there's people like him spreading bad feelings and stuff. So it could be that somebody starts an argument with me at a toilet, right? So that's about it, really. But there is people, I don't work for a company or anything like that, so I'm like Craig, I can do what I like, sort of thing. But imagine you're working as a carer, or you're working in the NHS, or you're working for a company, and you've got all this, so you can't use the toilet you've been using for the last 10 years. That's discrimination. You've got your gender certificate, you've legally changed from male to female, or female to male, and now you can't use the toilet you've been using for 10 years. That's discrimination. So there is other factors, that's the main one we're looking at. And that really shows you how there isn't, that it's because we're arguing about toilets and bathrooms, there isn't really much to argue about. The vast majority of women, nobody's ever said anything to me in the toilet in 15 years. Nobody. Not one person. But that's because women tend to get men to do their battling for them, like what might be happening here. Anyway, let's get on with this.
Okay. So, unless you're one of those people, not you, but no, you're a doctor now.
So we'll leave it on that. We'll fact check Craig on that one. So he's wrong with that. She's been a doctor since 1993. He's making it sound like she just became a doctor. She's probably been not using her title as a doctor. So this is an example where somebody has been critical of somebody, you can't win, So she was maybe keeping it discreet. She's a doctor. So let's move on. So this is a more of a sophisticated. It's an update than the ones I used to do.
Some people have
it's still far from
human rights. Trans rights are human
still
rights.
Far from right.
Okay.
But
so unless you're one of those people, not you. But
so what we'll have a look at now is some of the comments, and the last few have been pretty bad. Now, what I don't want to do is validate narcissism. So you mustn't do that, and that's something you've got to learn. So I am, in a way, validating Craig's narcissism, if that's what it is. But then I'm fact checking as well, and he's out there, he's putting his stuff on YouTube, so it's not like he's some innocent person who wants to be left alone. He's happy to put Victoria McLoud on and say things about all sorts of people. So let's have a look. So some of these comments. So I've been doing YouTube for about 6 or 7 years. But in the earnest, I've only really been doing it quite a lot in the last couple of years, maybe 3. So it's a learning curve. How do you deal with trolls and numpties and narcissistic comments? And I had a way of I blocked a lot of people. There's quite a large amount of people blocked in the early stages, and I had a system with words which I've backed off a bit, but I blocked a lot of words. So what the last few months I've decided to, so I've got kind of like a 2-tier policy here. So if you reach out to me and send me a message which I think is genuine, and you genuinely want to connect with me, I'll connect with you. But if you send me a message which is nefarious and narcissistic, it's abusive, I'll get, instead of blocking you, I'll get the computer, so it's Google Gemini, to answer it. And that's what I do. So, you know, these ones here, there's 3 comments here, probably should block them. So I sounded, I mean, this is quite obnoxious. I mean, who would write this? Robert Steinman. Why would you write this? The thing is, so what the internet allows you to be a narcissist and get away with it. Well, for the most part, apart from Craig Houston, of course, who got arrested. You're right, so it does, on the face of it, allow you to do that. I sound the same as you when trying to get a shit out. Also helps with classical music. I had to drop one the other day, and fuck, I sound like I was Liverpool. Sound like I was Liverpool, the shit I was spewing. So it's like, it's not even a funny comment. It's, what the fuck? So we cannot engage with that kind of language or talk to some. You have a different topic you like to discuss. We is here to help. I always like to change it a wee bit. We is here to help. So this one here is quite a narcissistic one. Mate, please don't ever put the camera back on yourself, and you'd be better playing with ducks in the bath than showing Greg's breakfast on here. Scotty boy. You really should show your face. I mean, so what, as a human being, you've got to like get out there and ignore this type of thing. So show your face, be you. Like your face, like what's his face look like? You know, what does Scotty boy's face look like? You know, so I bet we don't see it. You know, I bet there's nothing to see. Okay, we've got 17 videos. We are trying to get a YouTube channel to get good views. Well, you're not going to get good views behaving like that, are you? So it's all... What is this shit? What is this? That's his feet.
Hello, Nani. Yeah, baby, yeah.
I mean, is that really the best you can come up with? I mean, it's like... Okay, that's enough of that. I mean, so the computer answered that one. So if you're maybe feeling a bit down or something, as I was, and you get a message like that, the narcissistic feed. So what you never do is answer this clown or that other one, right? Don't answer them. So this is me not answering them. We understand you're expressing a very strong negative opinion about the video. So you just do it like that. So I'm a large luggage model and not a person. So that's what you're going to get. Now, let's move on. When I saw, this is quite horrible, but when I saw, this is from Memphis Daniels. 5 subscribers. And nothingness. You get that quite a lot with narcissists. They'll sit back and create nothing and do nothing. They don't step out and try, and that's why their lives are pretty useless and hopeless. I mean, what normal person's going to send a message like this to somebody? You know, you're sitting there, sad, narcissistic, useless idiot. When I saw a video by a bloke called Lucinda about road testing their breakfast, I was suspicious to where the sausage was going to be consumed. Right, I mean, it's not, well, that's quite rude. That's back to the Craig Houston type of rudeness, and it's not British, it's not decent. You wouldn't say that to me if you met me in the street. If I said that to this, they would say they would. And this other one, if you said that to them, they would say they would. But you've seen a video, I'm looking at his feet. This one here, wouldn't say that either. I mean, you will get complete nutter somewhere who will say absolutely anything, but these people will not. They'll say it, but they won't. They won't say it to your face. They won't come up and say that to you. Nobody does that. It's not normal. So the internet gives them a place that they can be horrible to people, and that gets rid of their toxic narcissism. But it doesn't. So you should never respond to this. So I'm doing this for educational purposes. I'm showing you these people are around, these trolls, these toxic narcissists. Don't fall for it. So what I do is key it into the computer. It's the same message. Understand you're supposed to have a very strong negative opinion about the video. So basically what you need to do is hand it back to them. Hand the bucket of piss back to them. So that's what you do. So basically you agree with them as well. It's brilliant, actually. Got a nice message from Tanya about Cumbernauld. That's if you look at Tanya's, if you have a look at what's that one there, Fleming House demolition, Cumbernauld. She's done some pretty good footage of she's gotten into places that hitherto have been locked. This is quite a common one I get. Is he speaking English or Spanish? Because I'm Scottish. So at the end of the day, you've got to come from somewhere. I'm Scottish. I'm not Welsh. I'm not Irish. I'm not English. I'm Scottish, so I speak Scottish. Right, that's it. You know, and you can't please everybody all the time, and I get that quite a lot. So you just sort of ignore that. The computer answered that as well. So this one here, I sat in Cumbernauld talking about transgender stuff. So basically, what I'm putting, if you watch that video, transgender rights, and there isn't any responsibilities. I'm just sort of, I'm not pushing transgender stuff. I'm just sort of like describing it from my experience. I'm not pushing you. I'm not in alignment with the LGBTQIA or the transgender activists. I don't agree with them, right? So I'm not pushing that. So if you listen to what I'm saying, and I don't have all the answers, all I'm really talking about is my experiences and what's happened to me. That's basically what I'm talking about. I'm not in agreement necessarily, or I am with some of it I'm not. So this gender is not a choice, you're born. Well, that's clearly fundamentally wrong. So this person here, we went on to have quite a lot. It was an unfruitful discussion where they or he had really made up his mind and wasn't really wanting to discuss it. He was just putting out, or maybe he was trying to wind me up. So gender is a choice. Because gender is it comes from the word to describe animals. It's along the lines of general. So it means, so like general, so you might have general species, right? There might be different variants of monkeys or something, right? Or fish. So gender means that, and so it's being used or utilised, or the word was the use of the words perhaps has been changed from the 1960s. So it's a different word from sex. So gender is a choice, and the choice is how you present yourself. So it is a choice, absolutely. And we're, so we am dressed. So that's a choice. I don't have to wear this. Nobody forced me. Why am I wearing that? I don't know, right? So it's a choice. I could wear male clothes. So I'm wearing female clothes. I could wear male clothes. The hat, Mexican hat, it's probably a male hat. Who knows? Or hats. Are hats unisex? I don't know, right? So it is a choice. Gender is a choice. Sex is not a choice. So you can see where they've conflated it. I did say I don't necessarily agree with all this stuff. So what I had to do with him is just, I had to answer using the computer. And I was right. I didn't think he was going to be a genuine guy. If you start off like that, so he hasn't listened to anything that I've said. He doesn't want to talk. He's a bit like Craig Houston. He's like Craig Houston. He doesn't want to talk about it. He just wants to he's like Craig says he wants to talk about it. So if this is this guy's idea of talking about it, he's not talking about it. So then, the computer answers it and goes on about all the stuff from the 60s and biological sex, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So then he says, anyone can keep fooling themselves to be the opposite gender, what they are, the day they're still counting at the gender. Well, you're not born with a gender, it's a social construct. You're born with a sex, male or female. So he's not really thinking about this. Crazy fact is that humans can't accept what they really are, so they try different things to fool themselves. Well, that's maybe true, yeah. So I tried to sort of I said, gosh, that's a really good point, because I kind of was. I've come to realize of my own journey. This is me talking to him. Will always be me. Yes, but why? So I know I will always be me, right? So often a lot of us are running away from something. Maybe it's a case of identifying what that is. So when we do change or find that something, we perhaps don't realise that we have made it, even when taken geographically. So what I mean is, like, where you come from. Maybe that's why people indulge in destructive behaviour and destroy things. So I'm reaching out to this guy. This is me communicating with him. This isn't a computer. This is me. But waste of time. Changing is to anything you want is your choice, but ultimately reality never changes. The universal. It's universal until the death. Well, gender you can change. We've already went. He doesn't want to listen. Gender you can. He doesn't want to. See, like, they don't want to, like a guy like him. Hang on. So he won't want to discuss what the word. Wow, that's a bit worrying. What's that? Right. I don't know what that is. You know, there's a lot of weird people on the internet. A lot of weird people on the internet. So what he's saying there is, changing anything you want is your choice, but the ultimate reality is you can't change. So how can it be your choice? How can it be your choice to change? So you've got a choice to change, but you can't change, is what he's saying in that sentence. So this is me talking, not the computer. I assume you mean you can't change your sex currently, where you can, of course, change your gender as a social construct. He's not listening. See, Craig wouldn't listen either if I tried talking to Craig. They don't want to know. They don't want to talk about this. They just want to sit there. It's too difficult for them to get into all these things, because they'd have to accept that J.K. Rowling doesn't give a shit about them. They'd have to accept that these women will leave them for dead, and they are leaving them for dead. They'll have to accept that their male chivalry is being wasted, because women don't give a shit about you, and they don't care about you, and they want you dead. Current, and that is a fact. That's where it's leading to, that's where it always lands up with this argument. You land up with women on their own, females, a species with no male. We know this is only short term. It only lasts for the fun that you would get out of it, and then the species would be finished, over, dead. And then the species that do that, insects or something, they're village idiots, aren't they? Well, it's maybe not a very scientific way of explaining it, but they're village idiots, because they don't spread their genes and genetics and have variety. Current UK legislation is non-compliant with the ECHR, which the UK is a member of. Will have to be changed in the UK, which many will do. So that's me talking complete sense. That's what is happening, right? So this guy, why do you want to change who you really are? Then it's like fooling yourself. Just think about it. Well, does he think? I mean, it's quite an ignorant. It's quite Of course, I've thought about it. So well, I haven't changed who I really am, have I? I'm not changing who I am. It's you that wants me to change. So he wants me to change to, I suppose, to be a man or a male, I think. Just realise what you really are, that's it. You do all this to make you feel someone different from what you really are, but this guy's got no emotional intelligence. But reality never changes. Well, you can change your gender. We've already... See, he won't accept that, so we can't get anywhere. You can't accept what the word gender means. You can't really argue with the meaning of a word. You go and look up the meaning of a word, and there's a meaning. It's plain and simple. Well, they do try to change the meaning of words, right enough. I mean, probably the Soviet Union did that. or some of these communists. The Victorian categorisation system has long gone. You need to move on. You may find it comfortable to stick with it. So this is for Craig as well. But it would seem very unlikely that we will ever go back to that categorisation. So what we're saying, what I'm saying is, you want us strictly categorised, male or female. Fun fact, so this is somebody else. There's no such thing as being born in the wrong body. I never said there was. You get the body you get and you learn to live with it. That's life. Yeah, well, that's true. This isn't Build a Bear Workshop. Right, so I have never said that I'm born in the wrong body. You get the body you get and you learn to live with it. Yeah, that's right. So then he's telling me I need to move on. This is a different person. We're not going to give you special treatment. You don't deserve it. We have feelings too. So he's been exclusionary there. So I'm not part of the society he's in. We have feelings too. If you're not going to respect our feelings, it's going to be trouble for you. That's a bit, If you're man enough to cause transphobic, then you're man enough to suffer the consequences. I don't think I did call him. See, this is them sort of they're trying to explain me using their own, well, they are transphobic, obviously. So, back to the computer. I mean, there's going to be trouble for you. Well, I think there's going to be trouble for you, actually. Probably is more to the point. GR. See, another creep. Another creep behind the one subscriber. I mean, he's another one. I would imagine it's a man, definitely, yeah. Another sad one. So, we don't care how profound, so you don't like that sort of talk. Your feelings may be, you need to get your impulses under control. So really, that's projection. You know, into a specialist projection. Let's be clear, this isn't about you pretending to be a woman. This is about you calling us transphobic, because we pretend to be women with you, because we won't pretend to be women. Alright, this must be from a woman, yeah. Okay, fair enough. That's when you men cross the line. That's why we're coming after you. You're not a woman. You're a man who views that like a proper civilised man. If you're man enough to cause something, then you're man enough to suffer the consequences. Right? Okay. When it's starting, you're very strong feelings. So it's back to computer. This is about you calling us because we won't pretend to be women with you. So she must be female. This one is hiding. So what she'll do is get men to fight her battles for her. That's what they all do. Right, so let's crack on with this. Man, I don't give a shit about this talk. It's fun to talk about such disease. Well, why are you here? You don't give a shit about it. Fine. Bro. So what I made the mistake here, quickly. It said cupcake in the answer. And this is what you shouldn't do, a narcissist. Heart saying cupcake. Bro, it's just an argument. So he used that against me. That's my mistake. So what you do then is don't connect with them. They're not listening. They don't care. Jesus said that. Move on. So he's saying, I do know that most of the people that are transgender aren't good in mental health. So you could call me by whatever name. I don't take it. You can have it back. Well, cupcake is not necessarily. It is actually a kind of friendly sort of term. So it depends how you take it. It's a bit like darling or love, isn't it, really? It depends. In Yorkshire, it might be alright, I can't believe you're so old. Now we're being discriminated for age, but not mature in the brain. I think I'm quite mature, actually. See, he doesn't know me. I don't know him. I would hazard a guess that he's not in the same situation I'm in, but who cares, right? So you think the world is full with such ignorant old people. So it's ageist and projective. So use the whoop. I was watching Mr. Balin. The whoop was this big funny big thing that goes around the forest. I forget what they're called. All that nonsense you're saying that doesn't turn lies into your new information. It's just a bunch of bull. You're not a woman because of course your unique experience. I don't ever have to put my feelings aside and treat you like I don't care. I don't care what you want. Right, so when you realise that if your parents were what you are, you wouldn't have been borned. So this guy's a halfwit, isn't he? End of conversation. Well, that's always a bad sign when you do that. When somebody says end of, it means that they don't have any critical analysis skills and they're not going to talk about it. So that was that. I think we'll leave it at that. I probably went on about that a bit too much. Wasted time talking to them. And, well, you can look at that if you want. 6,025 is subscriber count now. So I just keep doing my own thing, you know. I'm not. I don't. Nobody has to accept me for anything. I don't. You know. I don't really care. If you think I'm a man or a woman, fine. It's up to you. But that's your right to think. You've got free speech and you can say what you like. But you can't lie about laws and you can't lie about legislation that's already in place. And if you want to campaign against these things, go and do it. And I don't actually care. Obviously, we're not going to get on. So if we meet up in life somewhere, so say like I'm at a market and you come up, I'm not going to like you, am I? Obviously, because you've been rude to me. That's just normal, right? Nobody's going to like that. And then it's unlikely you're ever going to say anything anyway. I've got ways of dealing with people. I sort of realise what they're like. There's laws to protect us. I mean, you, me, everyone. Males, females, males. There's laws, right? And we need to exercise our right to have a good life, a decent life and a safe life. And if I feel threatened by anyone, I'll phone the police, you know. That's what you do. But generally just try and avoid it. So thanks for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. And we'll get you in the next video. Bye!